The questionable era of AI gadgets is here. From headsets to glasses to a wearable pin, and now this vibrant orange device that wants to eventually replace your phone. The Rabbit R1 is a new AI-powered gadget that can use your apps for you. It went viral after the startup published this video in early 2024 teasing its new device. Jesse Liu is the founder of this AI startup called Rabbit, and he's quite the entrepreneur with many hobbies. He started multiple companies in the past, one of which got acquired by Baidu, which is the Google of China. He's a semi-pro Lamborghini racer, music producer, and collects cars and vintage synthesizers. More on these later in this episode. The Rabbit R1 is a standalone device about half the size of an iPhone that comes with a rotating camera for taking photos and videos, a screen you can interact with sometimes, and a scroll wheel / button you use to navigate around the interface and talk to its built-in AI to perform tasks. This sounds similar to another device, right? The R1 has received a ton of criticism, like its competitor, the Humane AI Pin, on the fact that it doesn't solve any real problem. Nothing of that your phone couldn't do, and you can perform these tasks on your phone much easier. I actually did another video study on the Humane AI Pin, so be sure to check it out if you haven't already. The biggest sell for Rabbit's R1, according to the team, is its operating system, the Rabbit OS, which encompasses the large action model. Rather than a ChatGPT-like large language model, the large action model, or LAM, is a new foundation model that can understand and execute complex tasks by translating human intentions into actions. So, if you want to play music from Spotify, just prompt the R1 to play a song and it will search for that song in Spotify's library and play it for you automatically. It currently only connects to 4 apps: Spotify for music, Uber for booking rides, DoorDash for delivery, and Midjourney for image generation. You don't have to manually perform these tasks yourself. You just give it a command and it'll automatically do it for you. And it's supposed to work, but from all the reviews so far, it doesn't. From all the marketing and media buzz, the product just doesn't seem to deliver on its promise. It's kind of a half-baked product where its founder wanted to launch fast and get it out there, even if it doesn't fully work. This is similar to the Humane AI Pin. Rabbit is one of many companies riding the AI wave, having raised over $60 million to date. I actually think it's a promising startup with a very strong founder, but the first version of its product is questionable. Let's delve into its founder, Jesse Liu, and how Rabbit got started. We'll go on a journey together, exploring his early days, his multiple business ventures and hobbies, and then his philosophies and belief in technology that led him to start Rabbit. He's one of the most interesting entrepreneurs I've ever come across. Let's get into it. Jesse was born in Xi'an, China in 1990. As a kid, he learned piano and was taught to view music as a form of communication and expression rather than a performance. It's supposed to be a way of life than a mere skill. This is important for him later on as he began to develop his own philosophies in life. It also gave him domain knowledge for a few of his later ventures. And like many tech entrepreneurs today, he learned and fell in love with programming as a young kid. His hobbies and studies brought him to the University of Liverpool in England, where he got a bachelor's degree in marketing and financial mathematics. While still in college, at the age of 22, he experimented with a Facebook app aimed at college students called TimeMeet. It was a tool that helped schedule meetups, and it quickly gained traction and popularity among British universities. After graduating, he returned to China and started his first real business venture, Raven Tech, and this was a major turning point for his career and his life. The problem Raven Tech was trying to solve was the overwhelming sensation and cluttered landscape of app-based operating systems. Jesse and his founding team recognized the inefficiencies of navigating multiple apps for simple tasks, so they developed a voice-based search engine and operating system called Project Flow. To put it simply, Raven Tech aimed to simplify digital experiences by creating a voice-based operating system for people to interact with and talk to in order to get tasks done without having to navigate between multiple different apps. This should sound very familiar to you. It sounds a lot like the Rabbit R1 does with its large action model. Raven Tech was the precursor to Rabbit. Jesse and his team got accepted into Y Combinator's Winter 2015 batch. If you don't know, Y Combinator is the world's leading startup accelerator. Top companies like Airbnb, Dropbox, Instacart, and Stripe came from it, and Raventech was actually the only startup from mainland China for this batch. Jesse was soon recognized by both Forbes China and Forbes Asia on the 30 Under 30 consumer tech list in 2015 and 2016, respectively, for his work on Raventech. If these accomplishments aren't impressive already, Jesse also had a side project. Remember when I mentioned his hobby of music? Well, he developed a minimalist music player app called Music Flow. Within 30 hours of launching, it reached the top 50 in the App Store. Now, back to Raventech. The startup raised $18 million, and in 2017, a big tech giant known to be the Google of China reached out. Baidu wanted to further its AI push, so it acquired Raventech and its AI voice assistant platform for an undisclosed amount. Raventech was seen as the Chinese version of Siri, but it never really took off, and the app never broke the top 700 rankings in China's App Store. So the acquisition seemed to be a fair exit for the team. Jesse joined Baidu and worked there for almost 2 years before leaving in 2018. In Los Angeles, California, Jesse experimented with yet another venture. He partnered with some teammates from Raventech to establish RCT Studio. He once again got into Y Combinator for the Winter 2019 batch. It started off as a creative studio for immersive and interactive films. It provided a text-to-video platform for 3D filmmaking, basically like OpenAI's Sora, but for 3D, kind of ahead of its time, and this was back in 2018. They soon pivoted to the gaming industry to build AI-generated content for the metaverse. It looks like the company is still active today, having received a $10 million check in 2022 to build its Web3 game called Delicium. It's not clear when or if Jesse even left RCT, but in 2020, he started Rabbit. Remember Project Flow I talked about earlier? The voice-based operating system that powered Jesse's previous startup, Raventech? Well, he was still bullish on this idea, an AI-powered voice-operated tool, and thus Rabbit was born. But let's wind the clocks back a few months to when Jesse joined the board of a Swedish company known as Teenage Engineering. As we know, Jesse is a massive music enthusiast. He's a producer and an avid vintage synth collector. He's got a very impressive studio setup, and throughout his life, he's always admired the design and quality of electronics made by Teenage Engineering. For context, Teenage Engineering was founded in 2005 and it's headquartered in Stockholm, Sweden. It's known for designing and manufacturing high quality and well-designed audio products. So Jesse sent a cold email to one of the founders and CEO, Jesper Kauhooft. A few days later, he found himself in Stockholm at Teenage Engineering's headquarters meeting with Jesper, and they immediately hit it off, bonding over shared interests and beliefs. So much so that Jesper brought him on as a board member. This is important because Jesse would later on have Teenage Engineering design the Rabbit R1. So what about the Rabbit R1? It's supposed to be your AI-powered virtual assistant optimized for voice control. It's the cheaper alternative to Humane's AI Pin, but unlike the Pin, the R1 is a separate device you carry and hold onto. It's like a second phone with much less features. This is where I can see the value of the AI Pin. It's a more accessible device to get tasks done because you clip it onto your chest and can use it without hands. The R1 you can't. From the reviews, it's underwhelming, underpowered, and undercooked. It feels like a half-finished product that can't really do anything. And its large action model, it can't even play music from Spotify or book a ride through Uber like it promised. This reviewer from The Verge tried many times and just couldn't get it to work.
Order food.
DoorDash may take a while to load on Rabbit OS and may not be available in all regions. There was an issue with the food ordering service. Please try again later. Thank you for your understanding.
And then it fails.
This seems to be the trend recently for consumer AI products. This was even the case for DALL-E, ChatGPT, Gemini, its predecessor Bard, and Midjourney back in the day. But people were a little more forgiving because these were essentially free software you could try out. Now, despite the criticism of Rabbit and even its competitor Humane, I'm quite bullish and excited for this future. I applaud entrepreneurs like Jesse for their attempt at redefining personal computing. This is just the beginning of Rabbit's journey and the new age of personal computing. The only way for things to get better is for people to use the products. So the R1 and the AI Pin feel intentional in the way they were marketed and launched. The founders essentially needed beta testers to get early feedback in order to build a better V2 and beyond. AI is changing everything and it's moving very fast. Even though version 1 is pretty bad, it's needed. So will Rabbit end up changing the world? Who knows? But what I do know is that we need people like Jesse Liu. We need companies like Rabbit, companies that continue to push the depths of technology for the sake of humanity. Whether the next innovation is indeed another little gadget, a clippable pin, a headset, glasses, or brain-computer chips for neural interfaces, it all starts with very ambitious people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on my next tech documentary. And be sure to check out my other video on Humane, where I explore the journey of its founders and break down how the AI company got started. Catch you later.